It's
Good
recording.
morning.
Hi.
Hello. I'm so excited to do this. Okay, so today we have Ashley Maas, and I came across Ashley. I don't even recall how. I had read one of her posts on Facebook, and I just felt like, holy shit, I have to talk to this girl. I have to get her story out there. I need to share it with more women. She is phenomenal. And so Ashley is an entrepreneur and an inspiration to so many women. She's the owner of something called the Abundance Box movement, which is really cool. We'll talk about it later in the episode. And she is a massive supporter and advocate of the cause towards human and sex trafficking, which is actually a very big topic right now.
Yep.
And Ashley's so committed to it that 10% of each box that she sells for her abundance movement actually goes to the I Heart World cause. And we'll talk about that and what the I Heart cause is and all of that. So let's get started. So Ashley, 28 years old. She has 3 children, 2 of which are twins. Okay, Ashley, the ages of your kids.
Andy and Ava will be 3 next month, and then I have an 8-week-old daughter who was born in May.
Oh, what? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Ashley is incredible. Like I was complaining about, like, oh, I've got 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2. I can't manage it all. And then I hear the ages of her kids, and I'm like, put to shame. How did she do this? Her story is so incredible, you guys. I'm so excited to tell you. So Ashley is recently divorced and facing latitudes of adversity. She found the strength and the love in herself to become something bigger, a person of success. And so what's it like being a mom to 3 in your situation? Tell me about how the hell do you manage your everyday? Like, how do you manage the stress? How do you keep your sanity?
Oh my gosh. Some days, I'm not gonna lie, some days are difficult, but I feel that I have been working on myself for so many years. And when my twins were born, I had horrible postpartum anxiety and depression and awful OCD. Like it controlled my entire life. I couldn't function and do my everyday activities because I was being controlled by this disease. And I had hit a really low point in my life where I was kind of coping with alcohol. And I just saw myself spiraling out of control. I started to see a lot of the limiting beliefs that I had grown up with show back up into my life. And I started to struggle with things that I promised and told myself I would never allow consume my life. And when I started to see these things reoccurring in my current reality, I kind of had this line in the sand moment where I just said, if you continue to go on this path, you will not be here tomorrow. And I had carried so much guilt with me because when my twins were born, I had something called HELP syndrome, and I was given a 2% chance of living. And
what is HELP syndrome?
So HELP syndrome, I'm sure like a lot of you have heard of preeclampsia.
Yes.
So basically when I went to the hospital, I had an aggressive form of preeclampsia, and usually they induce you right away to get the babies out. And I was kind of sitting there for an entire week because they were trying to keep me on bed rest, even though my twins were 36 and a half weeks pregnant. they were trying to say their lungs needed to be fully developed and all these things. And I didn't really know what was happening. I didn't know how to advocate for myself because I wasn't educated on what was going on. And so I just trusted the doctors. I trusted the nurses. And ultimately what ended up happening was my organs started to fail. And my kidney was shutting down, my liver was shutting down, and they had to do an emergency C-section to get the babies out of me. And after that happened, they didn't know that I was hemorrhaging inside of my own body. And I had bled out inside of my own body for, I think, 14 hours until somebody noticed something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I sat in the ICU for a week and a half, and I couldn't see my kids. I couldn't breastfeed. My husband at the time would come upstairs to like pump for me, like he was hand expressing for me. And it just was super devastating. And instead of letting that be the thing that kind of changed and shifted my life, because you hear all the time when people have near-death experiences, that's like their wake-up call. But my wake-up call wasn't until I was addicted to alcohol and my marriage was crumbling, and I just saw myself almost like this zombie mom, and it tore me apart. And that's when I really decided, there's got to be more to life than this. And I started getting into personal development, and it changed my freaking life. I honestly, truly believe that it saved my life.
Absolutely. I'd have to say it was a similar situation for me as well. Last year I went through a lot, very similar, overworking myself, using alcohol to deal. Marriage was, I thought we were done. We were done for sure, but we ended up doing a lot of therapy, and my husband no longer drinks any alcohol. I rarely drink alcohol. Our family life is so much different. But so I feel for you with that. That's a really, really intense and confusing and scary time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's back up a little bit. I read this other post that you talked about growing up and all of that. I want to touch on something you shared recently. So what it was like growing up, the circle of friends that you were surrounded yourself with, the mindset and thoughts that you were told and kind of taught about yourself. And I want to touch on this because I feel like a lot of us entrepreneurs, we come from hard backgrounds. We don't come from like not all of us come from super loving families that are fully supportive. And I think that's what gives us that fighting chance. And I just want to get the message across that your background does not affect your journey. It does not determine your future. There are really no excuses. So I just want you to kind of touch on that, and coming from that, what was that like? How did you get to that point? And I want to ask you, how you got to the point of where you drew the line in the sand. But can we talk about the growing up situation and how that was? Is that okay? Okay?
Of course. So I grew up in a military family. So my dad was in the Air Force, and my mom is from Mexico. So they met in El Paso, Texas, fell in love. She did not speak any English. He did not speak any Spanish, but it was just like, it was like an instant attraction. And they just like ended up together, and they were together for about 23 years. And growing up, I feel that I had a really good life. I don't remember my childhood really being crazy difficult. However, once I started to grow up, there was a lot of things that were masked because my parents didn't want us kids to see them. And so as I got older, I started to see these things and started to take notice of how there were issues in the family that nobody ever talked about. My dad was an alcoholic, and he covered it up really, really well. My mom struggled with severe depression and anxiety and covered it up really well. They just never wanted us to experience that. But as we got older, my sisters and I really started to notice that something wasn't right. And my parents actually ended up getting a divorce when I was 14. And it just completely rocked my family. We lost our house. My parents filed bankruptcy. My mom and I and my sisters ended up moving to El Paso, Texas to be closer to our family. And we lived out of a van for about 4 months because we didn't have a house. She didn't have a job. She didn't have money. And during that time, I've never seen her struggle with depression as much as she did. And she attempted suicide several times, where I would walk in and she would be laying on the floor and I'd have to bring her to the hospital. And this was something I was doing at 14, and I never wanted my sisters to know that. And I just felt like I had to become the mom, like the mom and the dad for my sisters. And it was really hard. And I just remember just carrying all of this weight with me all of the time and trying to be resilient for my sisters, because I didn't want them to turn out that way. And, eventually my middle sister got addicted to meth and heroin. And I started to really blame myself for it. And I kept thinking, like, this is my fault. I wasn't there for her. It's because I moved to Wisconsin. I moved away from my family when I graduated high school. And I just kept living in this guilt. And I just feel that so many times, a lot of us experience difficult traumas in our life, and we use that as an excuse not to do something, not to shift our mindset, not to change our life, because we fall into this comfort of being uncomfortable and living in this trauma, and we allow it to define our worth and value. And that was me for a long time. For 26 years of my life, I allowed it to define my worth and value. And when I started to recognize that this doesn't have to be my life, this doesn't have to be any woman's life, any person's life, that we have the ability to change our current situation by just taking ownership of the shit we've been through.
Absolutely.
And when we can take responsibility and just nurture that part of our lives and accept it for what it was, we can't go back in time and change that, but we can use it as our story of resiliency and strength, and empower other women to get out of that situation. So, yeah.
Ugh. I love you. I just such powerful words. And y'all, she did not, self-development is the number one thing that you need to be doing. Self-care is so important. And I'm sure Ashley will tell you, she would not be here. She literally says that self-development saved her life. It is so important, so important. And I'm so sorry that you went through that. I really am. My heart just absolutely aches for you. But look at who you are today. Let's talk about that. Let's fast forward now. It's 2020. You had previously faced a lot of childhood trauma. You've been in toxic relationships. You had the limiting beliefs. You're trying to find yourself. You recently divorced. Just 28 years old. I can't imagine. 3 children, alone, confused, afraid. And you mentioned your line in the sand. Let's talk about that. What was that line in the sand? What was that? Was it like a period of days, or was it just a moment that you were like, I've got to figure this out?
So I talked about, like, when my kids were younger, they were 6 months old and I was struggling with alcoholism, and that was like my first line, and I call it my first line in the sand moment, is when I decided to start investing into myself by exploring and diving into personal development. I had no source of income. I was in a marriage where I was financially manipulated. I wasn't allowed to spend our money. I wasn't allowed to invest in a business. I wasn't allowed to use the card unless I needed to get groceries, and that was about it. I couldn't get anything I wanted in my life without asking for permission. And I was so tired of feeling like I had to ask like my dad for permission to go to like to go to my friend's house. That's what it felt like. And I had never had debt in my entire life until I got married. And it was because I wasn't allowed to spend money on my own things. I had to put diapers on credit cards, groceries on credit cards, all these different things in credit cards because I wasn't allowed to use our money. And it was always his money and I had to ask. And it was just this control factor that I had never seen before. And so my line in the sand was really just making that choice and decision that I really want to do something that is going to impact people at a super deep level. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out a way. And I see a lot of women and a lot of people on social media leveraging this online space to do it. So I'm just going to figure it out. And I took my credit card, the only credit card I had, and I just like put down, I'm not even joking, you guys, I put down $6,000 on that credit card to invest into my own personal development. And that looked like starting a business and just being in a community that was just full of individuals who were just at this level that I desired to be at. And I wanted to learn all the things. And so I didn't even tell him. I just did it. And I remember when he found out like 6 months later, and he was so mad, and he asked me for a divorce, and I said, whatever, I was like, whatever. I was like, okay, whatever.
Okay, bye.
And, yeah. And he, ultimately we ended up going to therapy, and it helped a little bit. But then I just started to building my own dreams and started to build my own company, and like had this subscription box company that I really wanted to do. And he always told me it was stupid. And he always told me I would never make it. And he always told me that I didn't have what it took. And all these limiting beliefs started to come and creep back into my life. 2 years it took me to have my final line in the sand moment. I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter, Kiara. This was in April of this year. And I just saw my life, and I looked at where my life was going to be 5 years from now if I didn't make a change. And there was no way he was going to change. He didn't want to change. So I decided that I get to live for myself. It is time that I show myself my own worth, that I show myself that I have what it takes. I don't need to prove anybody wrong. I don't need to prove him wrong. I get to prove to myself that I am worthy. And since that moment, I had struggled in online business, but I never struggled in showing up and sharing my authentic story.
Mm-hmm.
And when I decided to give him the divorce papers and we went to the courthouse, turned them in, and I'm not saying like it's because of all of these things, but for the first time, I had my first $12,000 month that month.
Wow.
And I had struggled my entire, like trying to like keep a business afloat, but it was because I wasn't energetically putting my authentic self into it. I was putting up these blockers of fear of like, oh my gosh, what would my success do to my marriage? And it got to the point where I was just like, fuck it. I get to live. I get to have this. I get to do all the things I want. People say to me, like, was it to prove him wrong? No, it was to prove myself that I could. So it was like this huge, huge energetic shift that it was like, that was the anchor that was holding me back from success. And I want,
so good.
Yeah. And I want women to know, like everywhere, that are in toxic relationships, that have no source of income, that have no means to start a business, that when you want success as bad as you want to breathe, you find a way to make it happen. Period.
Yes. Oh my God. Such so many good points. This is gold, Ashley. This is like, I have been trying to convey this for so long. And even me, even myself is showing up. When you said, you know, I may not have succeeded, or I may have failed here and there, but you showed up. You showed up, and that is so important. You showed up, and you are your authentic self. And that is some of the best advice that I could give to anybody, that you could give to anybody starting their own business or just trying to become someone better, something better, do something bigger.
Mhm.
And oh my gosh, you need to write a book. You should write a book. You should.
It's like in my 5-year plan.
Right? Yes. Oh my gosh. So I love your story. You're really incredible. You're really incredible. So, um, can we talk about some of the things? So first, what was the one book that got you like, holy shit, this makes sense. I'm ready to change? Because I know for me, I read like a couple different books here and there, and it just didn't click. And then it was the first time I'd ever discovered Rachel Hollis, and it was like her very first book. It wasn't, was it Girl Wash Your Face? I believe so.
Yep.
I think that was her first book, and I was like, wow, somebody, I was just connected. But what was that for you? Who inspired you the most to just be like, okay, I'm going to continue on this path and keep developing, keep figuring shit out?
So there was 2 books that really changed it for me. And one of them it's called Women Who Love Too Much by Robin Norwood. And it's getting you to revisit your past self and get acquainted with your childhood self and just face the traumas that you grew up with. And it kind of puts you in the perspective of like, you're the person that's watching yourself in these situations going through this trauma, and how are you going to show love to that little girl, and how are you going to care for her like she's your daughter, and how are you going to tell her that everything's going to be okay, and to just keep pushing? Because when we see people going through trauma, we want to take care of them, so why don't we take care of ourselves? And so that book really showed me that what I was going through in my marriage wasn't normal, that I was in a very narcissistic relationship with a lot of emotional and financial abuse, and I was made to feel that it was normal by society, and that I should be grateful to be able to be a stay-at-home mom, and that I shouldn't want to pursue my own success. And that book really got me to open my eyes that what I was going through wasn't normal. And that's when I decided at 9 months pregnant that I am done. I'm like, I cannot keep living this way, because it's just consuming me, and all of the self-development, all of the work that I'm putting into myself is being depleted every single day that I choose to stay in this. And so that was a really eye-opening book for me. And anyone who is going through a relationship where they feel shame and guilt every single day, or they feel like almost manipulated, that book is for you. The other book that really inspired me to continue to keep going is called The Self-Acceptance Project, and I read this every week.
Ooh.
So this book is all around learning how to be kind and compassionate to yourself in any situation in your life. And it compiles so many different experts, social workers, therapists, that just teach you the tools and give you the resources to actually live your best life and to actually fall in love with who you are. And this is one of the books that is going to be in my monthly subscription boxes for September, because it has significantly changed my life. So
Awesome. Yes. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your business. Oh my gosh.
talk about it.
I'm just so happy for you. I'm so excited for you. To be coming from so much adversity and to really just push and make it a success. I mean, $12,000
Mhm.
And then recently, what was it? You were having a $10,000 weekend.
Yeah.
Yo, this is incredible. This is truly Ashley's story just resonates with me so much, and it brings me so much joy. It absolutely just brings me so much joy. And I'm loving the message. I'm speechless right now. Hearing your background, like everything, I don't even know what to say. I'm like holding back tears. You are so incredible. But okay, so let's talk about your business. How did you start it? What are you providing? Let's dive into that.
Okay. So 6 months ago, I was sitting in my bed and I was looking up, I love subscription box companies. I love them. I get FabFitFun. I get this one. I do. I get TheraBox. I get so many different, I'm like subscribed to all the things because I just love them. And one thing that I just found lacking in a lot of subscription box companies is they give you a lot of things to make you feel good on the outside. However, a lot of them don't give you things, tools, resources to make you feel good on the inside. And so there were a couple that I did find that did give you books, like self-development books, but that was it. You were kind of alone in maneuvering the journey on, and like for me, the biggest thing that helped me a lot was having accountability and having a tribe to like keep me going. And so I decided in that moment, I'm like, oh, freaking A, I'm 6 months pregnant. I'm just going to do this thing. I'm like, I want to build a subscription box company for women who want to become their best selves. I want to empower as many women as possible to get out of their own way, to take ownership of their limiting beliefs, to give them the tools and resources to become their best and greatest selves. Because so many women want to become great moms, phenomenal wives, phenomenal friends, business owners, etc. But we can't do those things unless we are doing it for ourselves first.
Oh,
and so, yeah. And so that was my big vision. And I didn't really know how I was going to do it, but I just figured it out. I YouTubed, I Googled, I spent hours talking and networking with so many different women to find a way to bring this to life. And in my box, every single month includes like the same things, right? So it's new monthly themes. And the reason I chose monthly themes is because I want to take people through the transformation that I went through because it worked for me. Okay. And I want to hold them accountable, and I want to be there to support them through their own personal development journey. And so every single box, and this is crazy, and I'm so grateful for all of the people that have helped me put this together, is every single box features a life or a transformational coach. So every single woman has a 1-hour coaching session with a life coach or an intuitive coach or a transformation coach to help them dive in deep into that month's theme. And it is free with the box.
That is awesome. Is that every month you get 1 hour? No. Yep. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Because coaches are expensive.
Yes. Coaches are very expensive.
Coaches are expensive, but all of these coaches are they stand behind the vision and they stand behind the mission, and they want to get their voices out there. They want to help women get through their limiting beliefs. And we don't want money to be a factor as to why they don't invest into themselves. So these coaches are offering free sessions. And also with every single box, they design workshops catered to that box's theme. So this month, it's all around limiting beliefs. And Chloe Evans is our featured coach. She designed a 3-week course that is all around taking ownership of your limiting beliefs and how to move through them so that you can become your best self. And she offers her courses, her workshops are, I think, like $250. And for every box subscriber, they get it for $150 off.
Wow.
For a 3-week course. And so every single box will implement something from a coach, and they're contributing something to that box theme. And you also get a journal or a book that has dramatically changed my life and that has been proven to actually work. So this month it's all around limiting beliefs. So I have partnered with a publisher who created the self-love workbook, and it gets you to dive in deep and journal just all of the different aspects of your life that are holding you back from where you want to be. And I also chose to stay away from China, China wholesalers, where you can bulk buy things from China, and it's just a lot more cost effective. And I decided to partner with women-owned small businesses throughout the United States.
Awesome.
Yeah. So they are all providing like things that they personally make, from bracelets to like chakra necklaces to oil diffusers to candles that are soy-free, vegan-free, gluten-free, like all the things free, toxin-free. And I wanted to support through this as many small women-owned businesses as I could. And so they are going to be and every single box has 4 to 6 items from different businesses all around the United States too. So I love that I'm able to support these small businesses, because during this time it is so important that we as women come together and help support each other where we can. And what else is there? There's also a lifetime community that they get access to. So if you even get one box, you have lifetime support from the Abundance Movement community. So you will,
awesome.
Yeah. So you will be put into a group that is full of coaches, full of entrepreneurs, full of other women that are just wanting to become their best selves. We're holding each other accountable. We are advocating for one another, and we are just giving all of our resources. And I told the coaches they can put any kind of workshops at discount, what they want in there, to help women just like find resources that is going to be feasible for them. So they get lifetime access for that with the purchase of just even one box.
Awesome. And you guys, as the viewers, Ashley's still giving. Y'all subscribe to a box. I'm subscribing. I can't tell you how much money I have spent on personal development. Last year I spent about $26,000 on building my business, and the majority of that was personal development. And if I could have all that in one box every single month, oh my gosh. And it's not even a lot.
No,
it's a great price. It's so affordable. It is insane how affordable it is. Y'all, like, use the code abundant15. Okay. Yep. And I'm gonna include this on in the comments, but yes, get the box. And then where can we go to get the box? What is your website again? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. AbundanceMovementBoxes.com.
Okay. AbundanceMovementBoxes.com. Oh, you are genius. I am loving this concept. Like, it is phenomenal. It's so, so, so smart. So let's end on, are there any pieces of advice that you could give to our listeners or viewers? Just a few key pieces that really just, if you're going to change something, if you're going to be something, if you're going to do something, what are the things that you have done personally that you could just do these 3 things, or do this one thing?
The biggest thing I would say is, no matter how many times you fall down, keep going, get back up, because I can't tell you how many roadblocks have come up my way, but I'm just telling you that showing up for your life is the most important thing you can ever do. And when you feel like everything is falling apart, know that there is beauty on the other side. The fact that you are still living and breathing right now means that you have survived. and that you will continue to survive and that you will continue to push forward. And I just want women all over the place to just find that strength within to keep on going and to pursue their goals, because your dreams and your goals matter. So showing up for your life, even if it's just waking up in the morning and saying, I am grateful to be alive today. Gratitude, 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 gratitude.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, Ashley, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I am so happy to get to know you better. I can't wait to follow your success, and I can't wait to share your story. There are so many people that need to hear your story. Girl, you're amazing. You're changing lives, and I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So follow Ashley. You can find her on Facebook. It's Ashley Maas, Maas. The AbundanceBoxMovement.com. And let's see. Anything else? Any other social media following you want to suggest to people? Maybe an Instagram. Do you have time for Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I've got time for one or the other. I can't do both right now.
No, I'm like in the process of hiring somebody to manage my social media accounts. But I have the Instagram is at Abundance Movement Boxes, and my Facebook is also at Abundance Movement Boxes. So you could just look up that at, and it should take you right there. And my public, or my page is public, and I post every single day on it. I go live every single day, and I love it. I love engaging with women, and I just love uplifting anywhere I can. So yeah, just go to abundancemovementboxes.com, and the cost of them are $49.95 a month. And I'm telling you, you guys, the value of them, just the coach alone is worth $300.
Yes. And I know that for myself. I mean, I was paying just to be in this giant group of like 1,000 women. I didn't even get one-on-one coaching. I was paying $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month. Insanity. But you know what? It changed my life. It changed my life. And if I could go back and just pay $49.95, I would totally do it. I would have just. So get your box, get your free coach, get your community. Ashley is giving you guys a serious gift, because I can tell you right now, this price is going to go up in the future. It's definitely not going to stay at $49.95. So congratulations, Ashley. I'm so happy for you. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Uh-huh.
All right, bye.